Asking for help would be the number one thing that I would tell my 20-year-old self. Don't be scared to find people that are doing the things that you want to do and ask them for directions.
Welcome, everybody, to the Performance Revolution web series. Today, I'm excited to be talking about smartphone storytelling. My name is Matt Rolfe. I'm a hospitality leadership coach. Spent the last 20 years working with thousands of leaders across North America. And we brought two dear friends forward today to help us have some context around this great conversation is how do we create connection with our people, with our target audience, with our guests through telling our story. I'd like to introduce us first to Shawn Walchef. Before we go into your intro, Shawn, and before we go into Rob's, I'd love you to answer one question for me. If you could go back to your 20-year-old self and teach yourself a lesson that would allow you to move better, faster, quicker, stronger today, what would that lesson you tell your 20-year-old self?
I would listen to my grandfather. So this little boy in this photo that I'm showing, if you're watching on video, is my grandfather, and that's his grandfather. And the lesson my grandfather taught me from a very early age, I never met my father, but my grandfather was born in a Bulgarian village, and he used to always tell me, Shawn, stay curious, get involved, and ask for help. Asking for help would be the number one thing that I would tell my 20-year-old self. Don't be scared to find people that are doing the things that you want to do and ask them for directions. There has never been an easier time to reach out on YouTube, on email, through Instagram, direct message, in real life. If there's somebody that you admire that's doing something that you want to do, ask for help.
And I can relate to that so much based on my opportunity to meet Shawn. We were doing a workshop for a couple hundred leaders here in Toronto. And Shawn is probably the biggest presence, I think, in hospitality on the planet right now and creating storytelling. And that's my strong belief. But I reached out to Shawn and said, Shawn, you want to come to Toronto? I'm going to make this story short, Rob, to our audience. Shawn said, absolutely not. Very kind. I reached back and said, hey, I'm not trying to do something I haven't done. And we created this great conversation. And he said, hey, this is why relationship matters. Not to see how Shawn could bring value. But Shawn said, if you bring my family with me, we create an experience in Canada, I'll be there to support you. We've developed a great friendship. But the other thing he also shared with me and asked me for help, I was currently at the NRA show and Shawn said, Rolfe, which is my last name, get me on the roof. Well, we want to get me on the roof of the convention center. He was asking for help, but he's kind of telling me, and we didn't get on the roof, but we got pretty darn close. But vulnerably, I really struggle with asking for help. So I look forward to getting a little bit more into that as we talk. But it's something that can be so powerful when we have the brave feeling to go out and ask, because people will support us. Rob, your side, I just want to learn a little bit more from your perspective is how can Integra, as we do focus, we wouldn't be here today without our friends and partners at Integra, but how do you work really to support operators and allow them to stand out in their market?
Yeah, well, first off, Shawn, good call on what you'd learn. Definitely staying curious is number one. If you can stay curious, you can grow, right? How do we help? We work with a number of different restaurateurs, hoteliers across the country, across North America. What we're trying to do is give more tools and more resources to someone to be able to run their business and help them save money on the back end. That's it at the end of the day, and it's using the people that we have, the amount of resources that we have in the background to give someone the tools they need to be able to move their business forward and not just try and keep things alive.
And I think this opportunity here that we're doing, Rob, I appreciate your time, but offering time and insights to bring value to your partners, right?
Yeah.
I think all of us have the ability to do that, but right now we're here having this conversation because we want to add value. Now I want to get into, I know my two dear friends here very, very well, but I want them to introduce themselves. I want them to share kind of who they are, what they do, and how they help. And Shawn, I'll start with you. It's just tell me a little bit about you and who you support.
Sure. My name's Shawn Walchef. I own Cali BBQ and Cali BBQ Media in San Diego, California. We've been in business for 16 years. We have 3 locations. We have a stadium location. We just opened up on the San Diego Navy Exchange, so a QSR location, and then we have our master smokehouse. I built a media company on top of my restaurant business because I knew that no one was coming to tell my story. They tell you location, location, location. I didn't follow that advice in 2008 when me and one of my best friends from college opened up the business. And I think it was not the biggest curse, but the biggest blessing. Because of that difficult location, we leaned into the internet, unlike most operators. And because of that internet, we learned how to use Google, how to claim our website, how to respond to Yelp reviews, eventually how to use Facebook, how to use Instagram, and eventually build a media company. That media company, now we have shows where we produce shows for Entrepreneur. So Entrepreneur Magazine, we have a show called Restaurant Influencers. We've reached over 42 million people. I've interviewed people like Shaquille O'Neal, Emeril Lagasse, Robert Irvine, some incredible people that I still pinch myself to this day that I've been able to interview them on the biggest stages. We also have a show called Digital Hospitality, and we launch shows for companies. We want people to own their story, because we now all have the technology. We don't need to go and build YouTube. YouTube is available to every human on earth. YouTube is the #1 TV show. It's the #1 TV show in the world, and you have the opportunity to create stories. Back to my grandfather, at the end of his life, he asked me when I was studying abroad in Spain if I would come home and help him write his life story, write his memoir.
Wow.
I transferred. At that time, I was on the telephone at the Plaza de Toros, and I remember hearing his weakness in his voice, but also his strength of saying, Shawn, you're the only person that can help me write this story. And I moved back to San Diego. We ended up self-publishing his autobiography. I got it translated into Bulgarian, and now I have Bulgarian children. My wife is Bulgarian. We go to Bulgaria every single summer. And that book of my grandfather and his story is now in multiple villages throughout Bulgaria. So for me, storytelling is very important. It's something that I'm honored to be on this call. Matt, like I said, you reached out to me because I had the courage to look stupid and sound stupid on the internet. You say that a lot of people know who I am. I know that a lot of people don't know who I am. That's why we do as many shows as we do. That's why we produce as much content as we do. And we only get better. We have to have the courage to, once again, ask for help. So I have a lot of media mentors, a lot of storytelling mentors that teach us how to create better shows, how to create better content, how to do live broadcasts. We just had a live show that started on Clubhouse. Now we have this Rising Tide community that we do every single Wednesday, every Friday, and we have people from all over the globe that tune in to this live event. And if I didn't have the courage to take that first step, we wouldn't be where we are today.
And I just want, the audience listening, I think these are the powerful points and how we've designed these conversations. We want them to be organic, but we want you to see yourself in the question that's asked. So I'm going to ask some questions to my guests here today, but when I'm asking them a question, it's with intention because we can see ourselves in their response. So what Shawn just shared there is like, you have to start somewhere. Started a barbecue brand with my friend from college here, which has transitioned to working with some of the largest global brands on supporting them and telling them story, made that journey in an imperfect way. But what I always appreciate through any leader is vulnerability. And I don't know what I do is I study body language for a living. Did anybody see Shawn's emotional reaction when he talked about his grandfather's voice on the phone? I felt it. Like, me and Shawn have a very good connection and a friendship, but I felt it, and I might have seen it more so than Shawn did when he shared, but there was a pause. Those are the moments in the stories, right? So organic, so simple, but there's a conversation. I'm sure we've all had one that we can relate to. So thanks for such a great introduction, Shawn. Rob, tell me a little bit about you, who you are, what you do, who you support.
So I'm Rob Blaker. I'm a national account executive with Integra. I've been with Integra for just over 2 years now. I've kind of been in the hospitality space for just over 10. I think the one thing that really drew me to the hospitality space was the people that are around, and everyone always, you see industry people and they always talk about, it's such a small world, but it's not a small world. It's a huge world. And the reason why we all keep on coming back and spending time with each other is because people enjoy spending time with good people, and we're drawn to good people and good energy and people who are, people focused problem solvers that are there to take care of someone, and they want to be taken care of as much as they want to take care of someone else. So I think that harmonious world, it thrives and it grows and it brings people in, great people in. I think that's kind of what's kept me here over the time. Going back to like before my professional career and whatnot, I've always been about trying to help people out with different things, and whether it be I grew up playing a lot of golf, so like helping someone with their golf game or whatever the case may be. But helping someone has always been a big passion of mine, and that's why I think I wanted to come into the hospitality space, is because you can work so closely with so many people, and that's what I really enjoy about what I do at Integra right now from a professional perspective. Is everyone that I'm talking with, I'm asking the questions of, hey, what's a pain point right now? Where do you feel like you're spending too much money? Where would you like to take your business today? And it's about getting them connected with the proper people and getting them connected with the proper tools, so that way they can be successful in their business, because that's what really thrives to me, is being able to help someone and see them have success in the long run. So that's the reason why I do what I do today. And I make sure that's ingrained with my kids as well too. Like ask someone how to help someone out. If someone's in trouble, you see someone's hurt, check in with them. Hey, are you okay? Making sure that we're always lifting everybody up and moving everyone along. Because if we can do that and everyone's lifting each other up, then there's never going to be anyone that's left down.
Yeah. And Rob, I just really appreciate that, because I can see I get a chance to meet thousands of people every year just in my travels, but you can feel the sincerity, and Shawn, I'm sure you can too, and just the genuine storytelling and that side of connecting not only your work. This is one thing I want to highlight. It's not just our work, it's our life.
Right.
Yeah.
Shawn is who he is in all areas of his life. What you just shared there, tying your kids back in, even to your passion or hobby with sport. It shows that you show up the way you do. And we have that ability as leaders, and we can tell that story. I had a mentor tell me once, Warren Rustin, he said, Matt, the way you show up at work and the way you show up at home, they need to be consistent. If they're at contrast, you'll find conflict. So he said, you need to continue to work on it, being as much of a leader at home or a leader to yourself as you are at work. And that was a lesson I learned about 20 years ago, really changed the course of my life. And one thing, as you shared, I'm just going to give a bit of my origin story. I'm a coach, but my coach comes back from how I grew up. As a child, I was told all the time what I couldn't do. I failed grade 1 and I failed grade 3. I was told I had a learning disability and I wouldn't graduate high school. And I was told to go find alternative employment. Hospitality was the first industry where I found somebody. His name was Kid Andrew, who said, I believe in you. He's washing dishes. He said, I believe in what you have the ability to do. He became my first business partner about 10 years later. And that's how my coach today, as I am a coach, obviously have a coach. He told me, your work is your wound. And my wound is my side of people telling me what I couldn't do. I jump out of bed every day to support people in what they can do and create possibility. And I hope today with our goal is with you is to get into some of the stories. And let's jump into some of the stories for our next question to Shawn. One thing that you shared with me years ago, and it says relevant today, Shawn, is no one's coming to tell your story. And I think if we just pause there, what does that mean, right? Let's go into some context around what that means to you and what it's meant to the people that you've reached and inspired.
So many people will know the movie Field of Dreams and Kevin Costner. So Kevin Costner, it's a baseball movie. But there's a saying in the movie that I think is transformed into business. And I think it's a misnomer. I think what they say is, if you build it, they will come. If you build it, they will come. And back to the location, we picked a bad location, and we thought if we build it, if we make a great restaurant, if we provide phenomenal hospitality, if we give back to the community, if we have phenomenal barbecue that no one in San Diego County has had, people will come. And I'll tell you stories. I remember failing miserably those first couple years in business, trying to figure out how we were going to make payroll, how we were going to pay our bills. And eventually we started learning. We started asking for help. We started getting resources online, other owners that would give us feedback. We started actually building a successful business. And I remember around year 5, we were about ready to celebrate our 5th year anniversary. And I was like, well, wouldn't it be great if the local news, the local radio station, the local newspaper wrote a story about our 5-year anniversary, having a restaurant in a location that's off the beaten path, that was doubted, that was giving back to the community. Well, what if I reach out to the newspaper? What if I start researching about press releases? How do you write a press release? How do you get someone to care about your story? I read 3 different books. I listened to webinars. I ended up writing press releases. And do you know what happened?
In my experience, it did for me, like nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
No one cares.
Yeah.
People don't care. The media didn't care. Legacy media didn't care. The reporters didn't care. The writers didn't care. And maybe our story wasn't worth telling at that point, but it was a real tough truth pill to swallow, that not only is no one coming, but no one can tell the Cali BBQ story better than I can. And it's up to me, even though in the beginning I'm scared, I stutter. I don't look good on camera. I don't like the way that I sound. I don't like the backdrop. I have to start. Start where you are with what you have and do what you can. That's an Arthur Ashe quote that I absolutely love, because when I go and I speak at the National Restaurant Show and I go to different conferences and I let people know we turned our restaurant business into a media business, and they go, well, yeah, you have a whole production team, because if you go and you see me in Chicago, I've got a full production team, 5 different guys. We have cameras, we have lights, and it's intimidating. But the reason why I'm excited about today's call is we're talking about smartphone storytelling. And smartphone storytelling gets to the essence of technology, of truth, and of who I am as a storyteller. It's up to me every single day to get a little bit better, taking out my phone and using audio, video, words, and images to speak my truth. That's it.
Yep.
And every day I need to get a little bit better. And as I've gotten better, the irony of all of that, of sending out the press release, no one coming, now we get asked to go on legacy media all the time because we're using social media. Because we're using social media, I get reporters, I get producers, I get people from the news stations that reach out, national news, to come out and say, Shawn, can you come on our show? Can you come talk about this topic? That's why I'm so passionate about smartphone storytelling, taking out your phone and learning how to speak your truth.
And one thing I love about that, again, if we look at the stories Shawn shared earlier and again now, is this is where I started. So and we're going back to early stages of this, and we have the ability in today's, where we are with social media and we are with content, to move much quicker. No response to working with legacy media and some of the biggest influencers on the planet, but he had to start somewhere. So Rob, I hope that you're listening to this, because what we're going to do is I'm actually going to ask you to pull your phone out here in a minute, and I'm going to ask you to shoot a video on whatever topic you want, but this is homework for you, and hopefully homework. What we want to do through this Best Practice Live imperfect example is we want to start. Yep. And my ability was, I saw Shawn when he came up to Toronto, we had 200 people stand up, turn around and shoot their story and share it. Most of them, I'd say 98% of them, for the first time ever, but it allowed them to start. And we're going to let Rob start today as well. But Shawn, there's 2 sides that I want to look at. I want to break this into 2 parts. I'm going to pivot here. But number one, when it comes to, we're going to focus on how do you start just yourself with your phone? Like, how do you get, what is the start, the process? And again, not necessarily looking at the tactics, but making the person comfortable. As you said, nobody's going to tell your story. You know you in the context to share, but how do we get over the hump? And then the second stage is, where do we post it? Where do we go? And how do we start, in the distribution standpoint? Let's just talk about the side of pulling your phone out. What are the tips for getting somebody over the hump to do?
So the most powerful app, I'm going to share a secret for this entire audience, anybody that's listening. This is the app that you have to have. You guys want to know what it is?
Yes.
It's the camera app. You already have it. It's native in every smartphone. It's the camera app, and we do not need to overthink it. The internet wants video.
Yeah.
So most people, if you are a family member, you take photos. We take photos as something that, everyone knows how to take photos now that we have smartphones. We go travel. If you go to Hawaii, you go to Disneyland, you take photos. My challenge to anyone that's listening to this content is, how can you start to take video? Because video is what YouTube wants. Video is what Instagram wants. Video is what Facebook wants. Video is showing, not telling. Video is movement. And when you take your phone out and you start to do video, it's not about being a content creator. It's about being a content capturer. So much of what I've learned how to do is not making a video for the internet on a topic. It's just, how do I take the technology that I already have and press play? But when you press play, no one's watching. You feel like everyone's watching. That is the biggest problem, is we feel like everyone's watching. What's the number one human fear, Matt?
Public speaking.
Public speaking. Mm-hmm. Yeah. People would rather be in the coffin than give the eulogy at a funeral.
Yeah.
And now public speaking is internet speaking. It's how scared are we when we think that we're on a Zoom call, or we're on a podcast, or we're recording a video? Who's going to see it on Facebook? My friends are going to see it. My family's going to see it. They're going to make fun of me. Well, guess what? People have been making fun of me for 16 years. And those people that I love and I respect and I admire, that all have very successful careers, all of their marketing teams now reach out to me.
Yeah.
And they go, Shawn, how do you start a podcast? How do you start a YouTube channel? How do you start doing content on TikTok?
Yeah.
Why? Because we were willing to get out of our own way and know that it's not going to be perfect.
Yeah.
You know, one of the biggest things, you know, if anyone here saw the Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight, which was a Netflix fight for 100,000 people, 100,000 people tuned into this fight. Do you know what happened to Netflix? They had streaming problems.
Yep.
They had audio problems. It was a huge embarrassment. But guess what?
Yep.
You think they're going to stop streaming? Do you think they're not going to show the NFL game that they have scheduled for Christmas Day? No, they're going to get better.
Yeah.
And if Netflix is going to fail, why can't we learn how to fail as a corporation, as a company, as a small business, and as a personal creator?
Yeah. Such a brilliant example of something that I've experienced, just looking at, hearing what Netflix was able to capture for that fight, just as an example, in an imperfect way. And looking at the side of putting their first videos out, I've shot a lot of videos. And I think everyone's looking at judging it of all the videos, and there's been some terrible ones, some good ones, and some very vulnerable messages. No one's ever come, other than someone who's a troll anyways, and that's where they spend their time. That's not my audience or my impact. Nobody's come and said, you know, my side, who's your biggest critic? I'm the one looking at my camera for me, but if I can get out of my own way and just share an example and a story, it creates the opportunity to not only support me. The work that I do supports myself and my own development and my own clarity, and it also hopefully helps one person. So Shawn, just one thing, if we were going to give tips, as we're going to ask Rob now, and Rob, I want you to think about this. You could share something about Integra, you could share something about golf, you could do whichever you want. I know we might go down the Integra side, but what would be one story that you could capture in 30 seconds? What's a customer experience that you learned from that had an impact on you personally? And my experience is, if we talk about what to do, that's going to land for some people, but it might be met against resistance because we don't have trust or safety inside the conversation yet. Mm-hmm. But when we can relate, where we can see ourselves in the other person, it's the opportunity to connect and then hopefully hear more of the message. And that's my experience. Mine's not right, but what I've done through my journey. Shawn, any tips for Rob as he's going to turn his phone around, shoot 30 seconds in a live environment, and we're here to support him and learn from coaching others to do the same.
So one tip that I'll share is it's from Simon Sinek. So I listen to Simon Sinek content, whether it's, you know, short form content or long form on podcasts. But one of the things that he shared was the problem that he had before he became the Simon Sinek that we all know, the author, the speaker, was that he used to say, I'm Simon Sinek and this is what I do. This is what I do for a living. And he said everything changed for him when he stopped talking about what do you do for a living, but he started talking about what do I believe. If you speak about what you believe, if you speak about why you love to do the thing that you do, it connects differently. And when somebody's creating content, the most important thing that you can do is, what do you believe? Why are you here? Why are we on this call? What do we hope that anybody takes away from this? Because my hope, anytime that I speak, anytime that I go onto a podcast, is, Shawn, you made me so uncomfortable. I'm nodding my head. Stay curious, get involved, ask for help. Back to my grandfather. My grandfather used to say, Shawn, when you're in class, do you sit in front of the class? And I go, no, Grandpa, I don't sit in front of the class. I sit in the back. You know, that's where all my friends are. That, you know, I want to be with the cool kids. He goes, Shawn, I want you to sit in front of the class. He would tell me over and over, grade school, high school, college. And I never understood what he was talking about. But those are the people that get involved, not just curious, but you actually get involved and you do the work. You take your phone out of your pocket and you go, it's not going to be one video that I have to make, because I don't want you to make one video and keep it on your phone. I want you to take one video and put it on your primary digital playground. So if you love Facebook, I want you to put it on Facebook. If you love LinkedIn, I want you to put it on LinkedIn. If you love Instagram, I want it to go on Instagram, where all of your friends, all of your people that know you, and it's not one video. It's, how do I get to 100 videos? Yeah. And how do I get to 1,000? Because if you do that, everything will change for you. Everything will change.
Yeah. And I want to go back to what I shared. So when we're talking to Rob here, we're not talking to Rob. We're talking to anybody who's with us watching with this episode, consuming this content. And it's that snippet there, that last few minutes, if you took anything, to sit down and play it for your team. Press pause, rewind it back. It's a few minutes and play it again. There's a story there. And what you saw Shawn change from sharing a story to also applying some pressure as a coach, because that's what he does so brilliantly, is he gets us in a position to get out of our bodies and our way and do. So one thing I want to do before I ask you to shoot, Rob, because I think this is coaching me wanting to come out. So I want the audience to hear this. When Shawn's sharing, how do you feel in your body? I want to go to, how do you feel right here? What's thought process? Based on what you shared, because I'm going to go here to here. Just complete honest. We're asking you to shoot your first video. How does it feel when we're going to ask you to put your phone on?
Well, I mean, I got to say I'm a little bit nervous, but that's okay. Hey, nervous is a good thing. It means that you want to be successful in it, right? So I think just going back to what you said, Shawn, as well too, is stay curious.
What's your favorite digital playground, Rob?
Oh, my favorite digital playground? Oh, I don't know.
You said you're not on social media.
Yeah, not really. No, I got 2 little kids at home, so I mean, there's really no time for that.
I got two little ones too.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I do have Instagram and all that stuff, but I like following LinkedIn as well too, because
do you post on Instagram?
No, I don't post on Instagram. I do post on LinkedIn every once in a while, and I follow it closely because kind of going back to the hospitality statement that I said at the beginning, I like to follow what the people are doing in my network and see how everybody's thriving and how everyone's working together. So LinkedIn's probably number one.
Have you posted a video on LinkedIn?
No, I haven't posted a video. So maybe this is gonna be the first one.
This will be your first video.
This will be the first
LinkedIn.
one.
Yeah. The first of 1,000.
Right. Well, yeah, probably, hopefully, yeah. But hey, getting started is the hardest part. So I'm the perfect guinea pig right now.
Perfect.
So we're just going to give you a little bit of space and time, and just if you want to, you could have your phone so you can share, and just a message. Whatever you choose to share.
Okay. Camera app. You said it's already installed, right?
Okay. It's already installed. It's the number one app.
Here we go. Hey everybody, just here with Matt and Shawn, doing a little bit of a podcast for the Integra procurement or performance revolution. One of the first times I started doing this, so I'm going to kind of use some of the knowledge that they've just given me. Staying curious. I think Ted Lasso once said this, but staying curious, don't be judgmental. And I think that's what all this is all about. And the more we can post, the more we can put more information out there, the more we can make other people curious about what we're doing and what's going on in our world. So maybe this will be the first one, but we'll see.
Great job, man.
There we go.
Yeah. I think it's an awesome example. And I want to highlight also just because the ability to support, because one thing I watched when you shared, right, it's just when you started to get to the Ted Lasso, your body language changed and your tone really came into yourself and just you felt this natural moment. And I think one thing that I want to take the instruction that I watched Shawn just do is see how Shawn had his tone was up as he was sharing his message 5 minutes ago. But when we're asking, say, our manager to tell our story about why do they work for our restaurant, Shawn changed his position, his pace, and his tone and slowed down. His eye contact changes to say, I see you, just do you. And one thing I know about Shawn and what I appreciated with both of us, nothing's not intentional. That was not conversational. That was with absolute intent to share. So the coaching side. So what we want to do is not just inspire ourselves to go, and we have to go first. Lead by example, lead by imperfection. Let's produce, let's post, let's distribute, let's start a conversation, let's start a movement for sharing our story, for our guests, for ourselves, for our people. But just how do we move forward and start? So Rob, what's your takeaway? And then I'll move to Shawn of what he saw and what he heard.
Just ripping the Band-Aid, getting it done, broadening my horizons and what I do. Yeah, like I just said, I mean, I don't really post many videos or whatnot. But yeah, it's about getting started with something. And sometimes the hardest step is the first one. So once you get started and you put something out there and try and have fun with it as well too.
Yeah. It felt like fun. Shawn, any takeaways from what you just saw?
I think the most important thing, Rob, I love the Ted Lasso quote.
I don't even watch Ted Lasso either. My wife was telling me about it. So there you go.
It's good stuff.
That's how good a story is. When a story is good enough that it gets shared and you don't even know about the context of the story, that's how it becomes a legend. I'm a huge Ted Lasso fan, but what I do appreciate is, number one, your willingness to do it. I want to see you post it. Not only post it, but tag important people that you think should see the video. I think the biggest takeaway from all of the work that I've done with Matt, coming up to Canada, speaking in Toronto, is it has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with you. And once you start realizing that humans care about you and your story, and that you have a unique perspective at Integra, and there's a reason why you go to work every single day and you put the work in, people are going to connect with that. And eventually, when you go to other shows and when you show up in real life, they're going to say, hey, Rob, I love your videos. And it's going to be crazy for you to go, I can't believe they're telling me. You go, well, you didn't comment on my video. I didn't even know you were following me, but your ability to impact people within your sphere, and when they hit like, and that like goes in somebody else's feed, all of a sudden it's a ripple effect. And once you realize that all these digital playgrounds are all the same, LinkedIn is the same as Instagram, is the same as TikTok, is the same as YouTube. There's nuances to all the platform, but all we're talking about is video. And when you talk about video, we go on these platforms and we think that everyone's producing content, and they're not.
Yeah.
From a B2B perspective, a business to business perspective, educational content, forget about it. I know that Matt Rolfe, there's a reason why he found me and I found him, because there's very few people in this playground. And we're in 2025. We're in 2025, and marketing teams are still waking up going, oh my gosh, we need to have more humans speaking on behalf of our brand. And the more that you do it, and the more that the team at Integra does it, and encourages your customers to do it. Like, you don't need permission. The permission, we all have this is the permission. Do it. Post it. That's it. You've been given the permission.
And Rob, one thing I want to come back to, because I think what I've learned as we've continued to meet, incredible partners from Integra, continued to see their impact. I've done a bunch of interviews and talked to clients that are partners of mine and ones that I was new to. But I think what you did is it humanizes you as somebody where I've met you and I trust you. And I know that there's some solutions that are coming forward, but I know when I buy, I need to trust before I buy. And I'm not buying a thing, dollars exchange. I sell ideas for a living. That's why ideas that create sustainable change that move somebody in the direction of their goals. But if you don't trust me, I can't move you. Based on what you know now, like as people get to know you through your post, and I really hope you do share that on LinkedIn, because I think it would be great, not only for your partners, but also for your partners internally. But when you think now, what is one thing that if you shared the story of a solution that Integra provides, kind of what's that one thing that the market, if they understood a little bit better, wouldn't help Integra, would help them? Like what's something we need to have more conversation around?
Yeah, well, I mean, essentially, if you really break it down to the bare bones of what we are, we're a managed service in a way. We're a procurement service, and we need to be someone that you do trust, because you're trusting us with the decisions to align you with a proper vendor, or on which chicken wings you should be buying, or looking at analysis that's in the background that you're sharing with us. So yeah, there needs to be an immense amount of trust that's there. And that's why I think that myself, I always try and lead with authenticity, and making sure that if someone sees me, they go, yeah, I can trust you. And it's not a matter of telling someone yes all the time. You got to tell them no sometimes. And you just need to be real about what the situation is. At the end of the day, going back to the hospitality thing again, like we want to work together with people that we enjoy working with. So if someone's going to be true and authentic to themselves, and you can believe that you can trust in them, that they're going to move you forwards, then that's what matters the most. And it's all about who you can work with and celebrate with and grow with and be more successful with. So I think the biggest thing with Integra is the people that we have, that we built our team around. And it's the people that you can trust. It's the people who have the resources, people who have the knowledge, people who have the industry knowledge, the experience, to go a long way, and to make sure that we're going to be listening to what you're asking for. It's not just a matter of telling you what to do. It's about asking you what you want to do, and giving you that personal approach. So that way you feel like you're being heard. You feel like we're still staying curious of what you're doing in your business, and not trying to tell you what to do. So I think that's the biggest piece that we can do in all of it, and that we want to be your trusted partner. I mean, everyone always wants to be a trusted partner in any kind of business, right? And it's kind of a cliche to say it, but it's the truth, and that we want someone to come to us and say, hey, how do I find X? How do I find Y? And knowing that they're going to put the trust in us to help them get there the fastest way possible, and get a great deal on the product they're trying to find as well too.
And that's one of my favorite quotes from the last few years is from an author by the name of Michael Bungay-Stainer, and his quote is, "Stay curious. How can we stay curious a little bit longer?" Mm-hmm. It is written, like if you could see behind me, it's written because we're actually programmed to design to, I think I know what's best, but just to hear the story. And to go back to the chicken wing story, you actually have a partner that's a client of ours, and they did change some products based on what you recommended. But what if they changed their chicken wings? The next time you're eating their chicken wings, said, hey, I'm out here with my 2 kids, having a great time, beautiful restaurant. These are the best wings in town. It transitions the relationship, right? It has to be in context of what you're doing and what shape, but there's so many abilities to support telling a story that creates that we see quality, we see experience. My side, when I'm especially over the holidays, you know how many people I stop and give a hug that are working in a retail environment? or say, I'm so inspired by you staying connected with this lineup. Do you mind if I just snap a picture and celebrate you? And I sent a message to whichever company. I just sent a message to Lululemon. Do they need to hear from me? Absolutely not. But I hope that person's recognized because they were brilliant inside a system where they didn't necessarily have to be. So how do we share the story? As we move to close out, because I think we've shared so much value here today. Shawn, what I'd love to just share 1 to 3 things, whichever you think is best for context as we look forward to 2025. Is to, what are the trends? What's the one thing that if we got ahead of it now would multiply our impact? Again, we got to start, we got to do, we got to produce, and we got to post. But when it comes to what's available to reach an audience, what's ahead for 25?
We're leaning into YouTube, which I think is a crazy thing to talk about in 2025. That, as someone that has built his restaurant business and media company using social media, we never built for YouTube first. But YouTube is just such a global platform. And when you build for YouTube, you're building for search. So people are going there to answer questions about your business. And this isn't a B2C thing. It's not a B2B thing. It's an H to H, human to human, human to human.
Yeah.
Speak your truth, talk about what you believe in, share your stories, and eventually you'll find your audience. But you have to be willing to get 1% better every single day and ask for help. I mean, there's so many people that are really good at storytelling on the internet. Chances are you probably know someone in your family that is really talented at posting videos on TikTok, posting videos on YouTube, like making a better video when you're with your family. I mean, these are things that for me as a new dad, I mean, I have a 7-year-old boy and a 5-year-old girl. One of the most important things that I'm teaching them is how to be a good storyteller.
Yeah.
I want them to understand why it's important to be able to speak in front of the camera, why it's important to be able to speak on a stage, why it's important to have a clear idea and a clear thought, because I know that will be a huge competitive advantage, not just in 2025, but for the rest of their lives.
Absolutely love it. And the YouTube side is so relevant. I think we forget that what's the number 2 search engine on the planet?
YouTube.
YouTube.
Yeah.
So as we look forward to 2025, what is Integra bringing forward to their partners that they should be curious a little bit longer about for them? Not just for your partnership, but impact their business.
Yeah, I mean, programs in more categories, more technology tools.
Give me an example. What's one technology tool you're most excited about for next year?
I mean, the Integra shopping assistant tool that we have is great. I mean, it helps someone identify, going back to the chicken wing example, if they're buying one chicken wing item from their distributor, it's gonna give you put a little sticker on your order guide saying, hey, there's a better priced chicken wing that's out there. Something where you have the direct tools right at your fingertips to make that decision right away. You don't have to worry about leaning on anybody or spending all the time to do all the research. And there's other tools that are coming down the road as well too, and how we're starting to work with e-procurement platforms as well too, like a Birch Street or a Craftable, and being able to pull all the data out of there and then do all the analysis on our end to bring back solutions to someone. So it's about more bringing more programs, more contracts, vetting more vendors to make sure that we're bringing the right people to the table for the members and the clients that we work with. So it's just overall growth. We're not trying to be a GPO, a group purchasing organization. Our goal is to be a performance improvement company. Someone who a business owner like Shawn is going to come into our environment and he's going to be able to thrive. He's going to have all the tools that he needs to, and he's going to have someone that's there as back end support should he not be able to find something that he's looking for. So it's about moving the businesses forward and turning that 3 to 5 into 7 or 8 locations or whatever it is that you want to do, or maybe you just have one location. You want to be the best business owner possible. You want to have an extremely tight bottom line. It's giving you the tools to make sure that you can get back out there and you can do the smartphone storytelling. You can tell your story for maybe you're not in the right location, but you can tell people what's going on in your location, what's going on in your establishment, and all the people who are enjoying it. So that's what it's all about. The more that we can get those people out there posting their first video, their second video to say, hey, I'm doing these different things. That's what we're really striving to do in the background, if it's linked to smartphone storytelling.
And Shawn, I'm going to let you close this out here. I just got to share one thing before I pass to you to kind of close out our episode. Is the one thing that we want to do with our ability and relationships to have somebody like Shawn here who has global reach. He's in the US, but his experiences translate directly to the Canadian market. When you think about somebody like Birch Street, I've been in their space with my other company for about 20 years, who dominates in the UK, right? They dominated the UK, and then they're just really becoming very relevant as we go kind of West Coast to East Coast in their sales force, but incredible solutions, right? We have all these tools and resources we can bring together for the Canadian market, because the reality is we need partners that are helping us get streamline, find time, or produce a better guest experience and a more profitable business. Because the benefit, my question is, what's the benefit if you embrace new opportunity and change, and what's the risk if you don't? And it's a question I'll end most of these episodes with, but it's an opportunity to learn an innovation and change. And that's where I think that we need to, as an industry, to move forward. It happens with partners like Integra. Shawn, leave us with one thought as we close out this episode around storytelling, around what you've heard here today.
Well, I'll give the answer to the test. So we've been doing this for a really long time. And if you're taking notes, this is the note portion. The answer to the making content on the internet is that we all want quality. We want a quality video before we post it. Sure. We want a quality post. Quality never comes first. The answer is quantity plus speed plus consistency will eventually equal quality. Quantity, a lot of reps, a lot of videos, a lot of posts with speed, with consistency will eventually equal quality. And once you get there, you realize you're just at the beginning of the race. This is a marathon. I've been doing this for a really long time. We help hospitality brands. We help leaders. We're trying to produce better shows. Every single day, we're trying to get a little bit better. And my hope with this call, this has been awesome, Matt. To see what you and our relationship, now that I get to meet Rob and the team at Integra, this stuff matters. Because for me, when I come to Canada and when I start to think of Integra, I'm going to be a brand advocate just because you guys took the time to have me on my show. So now I'm more curious. I'm going to be getting more involved when I see things that Integra are doing. And I'm going to be willing to ask for help, being like, hey, I saw something really cool. Guess what? I know a guy now. I know Rob, and I can reach out to Rob and say, hey, I saw what you guys are doing. How does it apply to the United States market? And that's, at the end of the day, we all think that we're alone in this business, and we're not. Mm-hmm. If we have the courage to put our voice out there, we can connect with amazing people all over the globe because we have the power of the internet.
Perfect way to wrap it up. I'm grateful to both of you. I think the opportunity for us to share your stories through this platform, but I hope everybody knows. One thing I saw yesterday when we did a recording, the guests immediately popped up their phone afterwards because we had a debrief after and shared her story on Instagram and LinkedIn, and messaged me this morning saying that was one of the most impactful things that I've done. So Rob, tag me and Shawn. We might both be on LinkedIn. So tag.
Yeah, definitely. Pretty sure you are.
I appreciate both of you. I appreciate our partners at Integra for creating the opportunity, and look forward to more guests and more future episodes. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Smart businesses are working with group purchasing organizations. Smarter businesses are working with Integra. That's because we are much more than a GPO. We provide more experience, more product categories, and more operational solutions. Integra is expert advice, quality and flexibility, purchasing power, and partnership to optimize your operations, elevating guest experience while saving on goods and services with the insights to keep your operations ahead. We know the challenges of operating in restaurants, lodging, senior living, golf, leisure, faith-based organizations, education, and acute care. So we provide services and solutions to help you maximize your profit margins. Save up to 30% on nearly everything you buy. From food to furniture, fixtures, uniforms, linens, capital equipment, services, energy, cleaning, and even training. Add in advice from experts who know your industry, and there's no better partner to take on inflation than Integra. With a deep bench of procurement experts monitoring prices, contracts, and supply chains, we help you find cost-effective ingredient options that exceed your customers' expectations. At Integra, your spend is always in your view and in your control. with data analytics and digital tools to ensure you're always getting the insights to operate more efficiently. Gain easy access to temporary and long-term staffing, your most frequently purchased products, and solutions for waste reduction and energy usage to keep your customers returning and your operations thriving. Unlock expert insights, unmatched purchasing, and unlimited performance for your business. Meet Integra and see the difference today.